Hi, BrenTech here, where tech is made simple. So Google is busy rolling out a major update for Google Bard, which, as many of you will know, is Google's chatbot equivalent to the new Bing, which uses the chatbot ChatGPT over in the Microsoft camp. Now, this update rolled out earlier today on the 13th of July, 2023, and we actually haven't had a couple of updates of late. So this is, as mentioned, a major update. So obviously Google making up here for lost time. I actually think the previous update was on the 7th of June, and today we are on the 13th of July. So that's more than a month ago we received updates for Google Bard. So Google been busy in the background over the last month or so. Now, the first thing is we can actually see that the homepage for Bard has received a bit of a redesign when it comes to the layout. Now, the menu items that were on the left-hand side originally have now been moved to the top. So we get our Bard activity, our help, and our settings, where you can change the different themes from light to dark mode, as an example. So there's a bit of a layout change there. And first of all, when it comes to new features and new improvements, Bard now is available in the EU and has also now support for more languages. Now, as many of you may know, the EU and Google and Bard were not seen eye to eye. And I'm not going to get into the politics of all that, but just to let you know that it is available now in the EU, with Google saying that Bard is now available in over 40 new languages, including Arabic, Chinese, that's simplified and traditional Chinese, German, Hindi, Spanish, and more. And they've also expanded access to more places, including all 27 countries in the European Union, EU, and Brazil. So Bard now available in the EU, where up until recently that was not the case, as many of you will know. Now, one of the new features, and there are a couple. So the first is that Google Lens is now available in Bard. So you can now upload images alongside your text in your conversations with Bard. But just take note that this is only available in English at this stage. So if we click on this button here to the left-hand side of the search and the prompt, upload file, you will see now you have an option to upload files, which are the JPEG, PNG, and WebP formats. So we click on that. And I'm just going to use this image as an example. And there we go. That'll take a second or two to generate. And I have noticed, especially with the image searches and so on, using Google Lens, it does take quite a while, and that's obviously because it's still in its experimental phase. And now I'm just going to use the microphone that's available here to the right-hand side to ask Bard about this image. Please tell me about this image. Now I've clicked on submit, and as mentioned, that takes a good couple of seconds because, as mentioned, Bard is still an experiment, as we can see. And also, this will give you more information about that image if you want more info about any particular image, which may be useful. And there we go. There's the information about the image. And something else, while we are talking about images, just to segue into the next feature, Bard can now read your responses out loud. So here you'll see a new speaker on the right-hand side of that actual chat response. And if you click on that now, they've added text-to-speech capabilities to Bard in over 40 languages now, including Hindi, Spanish, and US English. So let's just take a listen to that for a second or two.
The image you sent me is a close-up of a piece of blue glass. The glass is smooth and clear, with a few small bubbles trapped inside.
Okay, so you get the general idea. Bard can now read responses out loud, which I think, as an accessibility feature, may be a nice move in the right direction. And something else they've added, as mentioned, this is a major update. We now get pinned and recent threads. So yeah, to the left, basically a chat history, very similar what we get in the Microsoft Bing's chat feature. You can now have basically a chat history, your recent threads. And if you click on the three-dotted menu, you can also pin that now. So basically, you can now pick up where you left off, says Google, from the release notes for this update. So you can pick up where you left off with your past Bard conversations and organize them according to your needs. They've also added the ability to pin conversations, as mentioned, and you can also rename them and have multiple conversations going at once. So basically, that's a bit of a multitasking feature. Pinned and recent threads now available, which I think is a handy new feature. And something else to take note of, you can also share your conversations now with others And just to do a quick overview of this, if we scroll down, here we go. You click on share and export. So they've just improved this feature. The share, export, and draft in Gmail I have posted on previously, but obviously they've just made improvements to the sharing capabilities. And they've also added a feature that lets you modify Bard's responses. So here you'll see a new button and icon, modify response. And if we click on that, we can have shorter, longer, simpler, more casual, and more professional. And I'm not going to try that out for this video, but go try that out. Obviously, you can just modify the responses. And that's very similar to the responses we get and the conversational responses we get where it comes to precise and more balanced over with the new Bing chat over on the Microsoft side. So obviously now this is Google's equivalent now to those chat responses, giving you different options for those responses, which I actually think is another nice move in the right direction. And then just to mention a quick mention here when it comes to the last new feature, Google says they're continuing to expand Bard's export capabilities for code. You can now export Python code to Replit in addition to Google Colab. So basically, export Python code to Replit is also now available, and that's more or less what's new. And as mentioned, this was a massive update and does include all those new features. And I think the big one here for a lot of users in the EU is that now Bard is available in the EU. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.